what you learned in school. Never mind what your parents told you, and disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. And when your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of At Odds, recorded in the back room of the Doubleheader Bar and Studio in the greater Lansing area in the great state of Michigan. In what country, Nate?
Chad.
Today's show will have a variety of topics, so we want you to stay tuned. I think we'll start out with what, Nate?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to bring up the tragedy we had happen today in Connecticut, in Sandy Nook, I think. Crazy guy, there's really no other explanation for it. There's something wrong with him. He went into an elementary school. I think it was first through fourth grade. Yeah. With firearms and shot the place up, killed 20 children and 6 adults there, plus himself, so 27.
And another person.
And then they found a body, I think, at his house. And I'm not sure if it's been confirmed that it was his mother or not, but that's what the reports were.
At this time of this recording, we're lots of information.
Yeah, this just happened this morning around 9:45-ish.
They released a incorrect name. It was the older brother.
Yep.
This is the younger brother of this person. So we really don't know what's going on.
Yeah. We're not really clear. We know,
we're pretty confident in the death toll of how many people are killed.
Yep.
But we're not sure exactly all the details of what's happening. Some reports are saying the kid was autistic and has some mental issues. And
those reports actually came from, they were reports of what his brother, who was being questioned by police, from what his brother told the officials, was that he was autistic or something, had some sort of mental issue going on. And neighbors reported that he seemed to be obsessive-compulsive type person and just acted a little weird, a little strange.
And that one of the victims was his mother.
His mother, who worked at the school.
Right.
I think it sounds like she was an aide.
Or a teacher. We're getting both reports.
A teacher's aide for a kindergarten class. And it was reported that the class, the primary class that he targeted, that he shot up, was his mother's, classroom his mother taught in.
Yeah, it was very isolated in the area. It was within two buildings, or two rooms within a section of the school.
What the state police sergeant said.
Right.
It was weird because this school, it seemed that they took security very seriously.
Yeah.
And in fact, they had this visual audio method of getting access into the school. The school was locked during the day, and you had to go up and basically talk to somebody in the school. They see you on video and hear your voice,
right,
and they had to buzz you in.
Right.
So he must have done that because it was after the time of day where the doors should have been locked. But his mother worked there, so it probably wasn't odd,
right, that he would come there.
And they probably knew him pretty well. It sounds like he was from the area.
And
he may have went to school there.
Right, he might have been a student. And it was handguns, which he could have concealed.
Yeah, he was. They apparently recovered two semi-automatic handguns from his person. He turned the gun on himself, obviously, and it sounds like the mayhem started in the principal's office. Somehow, whether he got pulled into the principal's office or he went in there and targeted the principal. It sounds like the principal was the first one to be shot. The vice principal was wounded. A couple other office workers were shot. And some of this was actually reported to be broadcast over the PA system in the school.
I didn't hear that.
It sounds like, at first I heard that somebody was smart and tripped the PA system to alert the teachers. Then I heard a report that it was actually during the morning announcements at the school. But one teacher actually did say that she heard this going on in the PA, so she knew. She ran and locked the doors and got the kids in the corner.
The kids.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's still really early, but it sounds like a lot of teachers did act responsibly. They did, what they could to protect these kindergartners, first graders, second graders, and tried to keep them calm. I heard one teacher's aide talking about how they actually played a game. She was worried, but she stayed as calm as she could and got the kids distracted with the game while they were, huddled in the corner. And eventually the police came in, did a thorough search of the school and got students out, as quickly as they could, and had them run to a fire station, which sounds like it must be
close by.
Yeah. And that's where the students, met their parents.
Well, that's one of the things they changed after Columbine. Was the protocol before was to surround the building, assess the building before you went in.
Yeah.
And while they did that, the shooters were free to kill people.
Yep.
They've changed that now in a lot of states now, where the police immediately go in now and try to protect the children and try to find the shooter right away to try to mitigate any kind of damage that this crazy guy is doing. So that's a nice thing, but it still takes a while for police to get there.
Yeah, and I think it was the state police sergeant again said that the police didn't fire any shots in this case. So the shooter probably had taken himself out by the time the police got to him.
That's the report we're hearing.
Exactly. Yeah. And the report that the police didn't shoot him, I think, is pretty credible. But when he turned the gun on himself, we don't know. We don't know. Tragic. These things happen, and every time they do.
Well, the question is, what can we as a society
do? That's where I was going. It's still really early, and I hate to politicize things, and it's unavoidable. We had Andrea Mitchell came out while she was reporting it for the first time, talking about how the president needs to get strict on gun control, and we had reports. The president came out which that really annoyed me today. I was listening to CBS because
I absolutely agree that this is not a national tragedy.
That happened to be the station.
This is a regional tragedy.
And I don't have a problem.
And the president has no business. This was not a national security issue.
I don't have a problem.
There was no terrorists involved.
I don't necessarily have a problem with him issuing a statement.
I do.
I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
What I have a problem with is CBS specifically, when I was listening to it, every 2 minutes saying, and the president is being kept up to date on the issue.
Right. Oh.
And the president is getting all of this information. And I was like, I don't give a damn what the president is doing and what he knows. He's not there. He's not going to help.
Right.
He's not. There's nothing that he is going to be able to do.
Did you see his teary-eyed statement?
Yeah, I did see that. And I mean, I hope it affected him. I mean, it had to.
Well, listen.
Who wouldn't that affect? And I ask that seeing posts on Facebook by very close friends of mine who, I'm not going to get into that, but some really nasty stuff. But, it's the whole empathy thing and sociopaths. And, but, yeah, I don't need to be updated on what the president knows about this situation. And his statement didn't do much except, sort of console people from 1,000 miles away.
Yeah, but he's prepping for the gun ban hammer that's going to fall.
And Jay Carney,
said
today that it's not the time to talk about it, but the president knows that we're gonna need to talk about an assault weapons ban,
right? Which wasn't used in this case.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that. They recovered a
semi-automatic
.223 caliber rifle
in his car
from his car.
Right.
I doubt he used it. He would have had to use it, go put it back in his car, and re-enter the school, which he may have done. I wasn't there.
I doubt it. Okay.
We'll find out because they're taking the time. The police are saying this is going to take quite a while to clear the school, to do all the forensic research they need to do.
I understand that.
They need to. They're going to look, pretty much every bullet hole and see trajectories and and they'll see what firearms he's using,
the autopsies and all the stuff. I understand.
Yeah.
Let's get to the real issue. Where do these killings happen?
Well, no, Brian. I think the real issue is that we have 20 dead children and 7 dead adults, and then this monster that did this. I think that's the issue. That's what I was talking about. I know you're concerned about, let's talk about how gun-free zones are killing zones, and I completely agree with that. And you're not gonna stop all murders. You know, he may have, if these teachers had guns, he may have not gotten anywhere. He may have killed a few people. It definitely could have been mitigated if somebody would have been armed. I mean, at least reduce the damage.
Well, we have data from that. We actually have data out there on these mass killings.
From this school?
Not from this school, but nationally.
Right.
And that is when there is not an armed response, the mass killings go way up.
Almost
10, 12, 15 people. Compared to when there is an armed response, it goes down to around 2.
Almost every mass
So
shooting.
while every murder is sad, if you want to mitigate the number of murders, you allow people, law-abiding citizens, to carry guns in gun-free zones.
Exactly
That's
right.
my issue.
Exactly right. Completely agree with that. Almost every mass shooting, and I would go as far as saying every mass shooting is ended with a firearm. I mean, whether it's even discharged.
Whether it's self-inflicted,
it is. Self-inflicted,
by the police or
the police
by
shoot
a
'em,
law-abiding citizen.
Or a citizen, and not even with anybody being, with the suspect being shot. The police may surround them with a gun, but they use guns. The guns cause the murders, but the guns also stop the murders. And that's the point that's overlooked all the time. It's, let's get rid of guns, let's ban guns, let's not let people carry guns in schools, let's not let them carry guns in churches. And then we find out that these bad guys still are going to take a gun there and shoot people if that's what they're intent on doing.
Yeah, because they generally don't follow the law.
Yeah, I've said this before. By definition, criminals do not follow the law.
They don't read the sign that says, "Oh, no guns allowed." Ooh, I better go back out to my car.
Never heard of that happening.
No,
it may have. I mean, that's another thing. Just like an openly carried firearm or the knowledge that people may be carrying. It's hard to measure the crime it deters. I suppose it's hard to measure the crime that a sign deters, but I can't imagine a case where that would happen.
Well, it hasn't. It hasn't stopped every crime.
Right.
I can't say that
exactly
it hasn't
right.
stopped a crime.
Right.
But I can definitely say that it
hasn't
not stopped
right.
one.
Yeah. That was really confusing, but
Yes,
I know what
it
you're
was.
saying. Yeah. There definitely, we can prove that there are some crimes that have happened in gun-free zones.
And you don't see many in, like we said before on other shows, you don't see many mass murders in gun shows and gun stores and police departments and other places
exactly
where
right.
guns are allowed.
Look at this issue that just came out that happened in China. They don't have a whole lot of firearms there.
No.
But like 20 or 22 kids and maybe some administrators got slashed up by this crazy guy with a knife.
Right. Well, but if you
it
want to go
doesn't
there,
matter.
I can talk about that because, the UK now is trying to get legislation outlawing pointed knives.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't surprise me, but their gun crimes have went way up, and it's really hard to own a firearm there.
Right. How do you explain that?
Yeah, how do you explain that? That doesn't make any sense to me. And just the other day, we had the shooting in the mall.
Another gun-free zone.
Oregon. From what I hear, their policy was to not allow lawfully carried firearms.
Right.
Well, it didn't stop the guy that went in and shot up, near the display or the set where Santa had a line of children, to see him. And it never will. No, it won't. And I mean, that's just crazy to me to think the kids in the mall and these kids in these classrooms, looking forward to Christmas, and we're really close to Christmas.
It's horrible.
And how many of them and their families, even families that didn't have